guys, welcome back to Clever TV. Today we are in the Summer Lounge. I'm Jocelyn Davis with Dana Ward, of course.
Guys.
And I am personally, I know we're both very excited to have joining us one of the biggest YouTubers in existence, Kaleb Nation.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hello.
Now, not only are you a YouTuber, which people know you for, you also have the site twilightguy.com. You're also, an author in your free time.
No big deal.
Yeah. So I read a really interesting story about how you got started writing, and it was actually because of your mom.
Yep.
What's the scoop on that?
Oh, my mother. I was 9 years old, and I was homeschooled. So a lot of my school, well, all of my school was done at home, and my mother was my teacher. And she came to me one day whenever I was 9 years old, and she told me that I had to start writing one page in this little black spiral notebook for creative writing, 1 page a week. I didn't want to write it. I was like, I can't stand writing. I would hate it. And I never tried it, but I just hated it just because it was more writing, boring stuff out. But then I started doing it, and I would do it once a week. Every Friday, I'd write a page, and my pages would be a chapter, and I'd do that more and more. Then I started enjoying it. Then I started writing 2 and 3 pages every week on it until I was doing it on my own during the week, and she didn't have to tell me to do it. Then it was to where she had to limit how much time I could write every day.
You have to do other things.
Right, you have to do other things than write, Kaleb. So I would do that, and then I just kept on doing that for years, and that's kind of how it happened.
So when did those notes transfer into this book? Bran Hambric.
Well, the notes, I wrote a ton of different stories. I would write stories about Star Wars, fan fiction, I'd write robot stories, anything you could think of I would write. Then there was one night, it was on March 3rd of 2003, which is 3-3-03. Around,
Good memory over
Yeah.
here.
It's easy to remember. Well, it was, 9:55 at night. I had this sudden idea. It's important these times. Oh, times are so important to this book. But I remember that very well. But I had this idea of a boy and a banker sitting on a rooftop waiting for a burglar. And it was just a strange image of these two people there, and it had all these questions of like, why are they on the roof? And why is a burglar coming to kidnap this boy? And what's going on in this scene? So I jumped out of bed, and I ran over to my writing desk, and I scribbled out the idea, pages and pages of all this stuff late at night. And I kept the lights off because it was past my bedtime. I didn't want my parents to know it was up. I scribbled it all out, and I had all this basis of the story of Bran Hambric. And I kind of knew that this boy, he had these special magic powers, and I also knew he lived in this city that was a modern city, but it was an alternate world where magic was illegal. And I also knew that they were coming to kidnap him to finish this crime that his mother had started. And I wrote down in my journal, 3-3-03, this is the idea of my life, or something like that. And I wrote it for 6 years, and I got it published. It came out on 9/9/09.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's a really incredible, it's very inspiring to hear that. I mean, most kids when they're that age are definitely not doing something.
Well, I try to do that. Whenever I went on a book tour last year, I tried to go to as many schools as I could and tell kids, I'm like, you never know what you're writing now could turn into a story. And I was working on some news stories later on, like 2 weeks ago, and I had written all this stuff out, and then I went through my old story notebook whenever I was 10 years old, and I was like, there's all the character names I'm using now.
Yeah.
I was rewriting basically a story idea I'd had years and years ago.
Wow.
So you never know. Kids never know when it'll turn into something like that.
That's crazy. So how did this come to fruition? Like, obviously you had your notes and your manuscripts and whatnot, but then how did you get to this point where this is an actual book deal?
Well, whenever I finished the book, it took me 5 or 6 years to write it. And I went online to a website called agentquery.com because you have to get a literary agent to sell your book to publishers.
Okay.
And I sent off probably 100 emails, if not more, tons of emails telling these agents about my book, trying to get them to take it. I got so many rejection letters, I didn't even pay attention. Because if you got 20 rejection letters a day, it's like, oh, another rejection letter in the email. I mean, no big deal. And then I finally got a few agents that were interested, and then my agent picked me up, and he sold the book 9 months later when I was in college. And
that's phenomenal.
best day of my life.
Oh my gosh.
And you're already, we're getting set for the second book to be released in October.
Exactly.
Tell us a little bit about
the date?
that one.
10/10/10 is when the second book comes out.
So cool.
Bran Hambric, the Specter Key. So I told them, you gotta do it on these dates. All the Bran fans like it when you do it on these cool days. So they did it for me.
Oh my gosh.
Very nice. So what's the next thing that's happening with Bran Hambric?
The next thing that's happening with Bran Hambric is I have a book tour that's hopefully coming up in October. I'm going to go to a bunch of different cities and talk to more kids and go and sign books for that. And it's right around the time that the second book, Bran Hambric, the Specter Key, comes out. And I'm hoping to do, what I did for that one is I did a bunch of vlogs on YouTube going through each stage of publishing when I got the first cover in, whenever I picked the covers, when I did my author photo, so that all these kids could see what I was doing.
Feel like they're part of the process,
yeah.
right?
So I'm hoping
good
to do that for
picture
next one.
too.
Yeah.
The author
There's a
photo
picture.
right
I love
there.
Awesome.
So neat. What's the deal with the gnomes? You're really into gnomes. I just want to know because
Yeah,
there's
me
one
too.
back here.
I've been into gnomes
There's
for
another
years.
one over here.
Gnomes they're a giant part, but a tiny part inside of the book. Like, they're giant inside of the world that he's in. Because the world of Bran Hambric, the laws there are basically that in most of the world, gnomes and magic are legal. But Bran lives in this city called Dunce, and it's the only city in the world where magic and gnomes are illegal. And that happens to be where he's living. And so he has to be a mage in secret, pretty much. And a mage is someone who can do magic.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm interested. So is there any more future for this character? Will there be like a 3rd, 4th, 5th book?
I'm planning 6 books. I have 6 books
Wow.
plotted out. So, and I'm actually working on the 3rd one right now.
Congratulations. Well, you
Very
guys,
cool.
if you don't already own a copy of this book, Bran Hambric, the
Farfield Curse.
Farfield Curse. Did I say that correct? Farfield Curse. Go out and get it right now because October is right around the corner.
Yes.
You want to be caught up to speed. For more info on Kaleb Nation, of course, you can check him out on YouTube. And we here at Clever TV will keep you guys posted too. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will see you guys later.
See you later.